we were using CAST in a variety of areas. One, with doing function point counting and automating all that, so we've got measurements. And then secondly, using it in our test space to improve the quality of the testing we were doing. So those are the two main areas we integrated. Most of the development we're doing is agile-like in nature. I'm very careful there because pure agile is always a challenge. So it runs from a waterfall to an agile approach. And within IBM, we actually have 3 different methods for executing agile-like projects that run that spectrum. And part and parcel of that is ensuring code quality, and we still have our team executing that quality assurance and utilizing CAST. With the speed, and when you think about agile sprints, you're taking things in smaller increments. And you're minimizing or limiting your risk by doing that. You're not going in with a big bang approach and changing a tremendous amount of functionality at one time. You're making small changes. And so you can take some risk with those changes, that even if a small change is slightly wrong, it may be easier to fix that after it hits production than it is beforehand. You can get to that point with very small things, but by and large, any change you're going to put out, you want to run through some sort of a regression test bed and a quality assurance, but it has to happen quickly, so it has to be automated. And that again is where software products such as CAST and AIP can help in those areas. Whenever you can create a dashboard that not only gives you a high-level perspective of the health of a portfolio of applications, whether it's in production or in development, and then you can drill down and peel that back to understand where are the issues, testing, code quality, whatever, that just sells it right there. And again, speaking from a personal perspective, when we were running the portfolio that I had, which there were hundreds of applications, and we would have our weekly status calls looking at the health of the portfolio, especially that was in development. We had the opportunity through a variety of tools built on a dashboard to be able to easily drill down all the way to the issue level of a specific code problem. When you're working with your business counterparts, and more we're doing that, you're not operating in a vacuum. So the status meetings that I would run, and I've had to run, I've got my business counterpart with me. So there's always the risk that there's a problem that just cropped up that you weren't even aware of 10 minutes before the meeting because it just happened. But when both sides are being transparent and we understand the nature of what we're doing, it actually builds trust because we recognize that the data is reliable and that this is where it is, and everyone's on board as to here's the problem, here's how we're going to address it. And again, with the right level of tooling behind it, the right type of metrics and measurements, you're able to then deal with those problems without having to go back and do analysis and come back later on, which just causes angst and uneasiness between the business and the IT side. So it's a learning curve up front to get used to working that way of full transparency, but in the end, much more beneficial. You need to know what you're measuring yourself to, where you want to be, and then you measure that, you set your objectives and you go, but it's a continuum. If you're going to measure something, you have to then check it, you have to use it, because people are only going to respect what you measure and in a sense measure what you respect. It's a two-way street. If you don't go after and use the measurements that you're gathering, they'll be for naught, and when you eventually do look at them, they're not going to have the integrity you need.